Picture this. I'm standing at the edge of a new chapter, the kind of moment where the air feels charged with unspoken possibilities, like the hum of a distant storm you can't quite see yet. My name's Danielle, and at 33, I've carved out a life that's steady, predictable, almost like a well-worn path I've walked 1,000 times. I've been married to Mark for 6 years now, a man with a heart of gold, but a spirit that's settled into the quiet hum of routine. He's a warehouse supervisor, clocking in and out with the kind of reliability that pays the bills but doesn't light up his eyes. I can't fault him for it, though. He's kind, always has been, the kind of guy who'd drop everything if I needed him. But lately I've felt this itch under my skin, a restlessness I can't quite name. My days are a blur of part-time shifts at a local retail store, folding clothes for strangers, and coming home to the same chores: laundry, dishes, dusting shelves that don't even have anything on them yet. Mark and we're comfortable, like a favorite old sweater that fits just right, but doesn't make your heart race anymore. There's love there, no question. But the spark? I'm not sure where it went, or if I even miss it enough to go looking. Then came the big shift, the kind of change that feels like a deep breath after holding it for too long. Mark and we bought our first home together. It's in Willow Grove, this quiet, upscale neighborhood that feels like a world away from the cramped apartment we used to rent. We stretched every penny to make it happen, signing papers with shaky hands and wide-eyed dreams of a fresh start. I can still smell the fresh paint on the walls, that crisp, clean scent of new beginnings. Our modest 3-bedroom place is a maze of unpacked boxes right now, cardboard towers leaning against walls, waiting for us to make this house a home. The first few nights, we collapsed on the couch, laughing over takeout pizza, marveling at the fact that this, all of this, was ours. I'd walk from room to room, running my fingers along empty countertops, imagining where we'd hang pictures or set up a little reading nook by the window. It felt like we'd finally arrived somewhere, like we'd planted a flag in the ground and claimed our piece of the world. A week passed, and the initial thrill of moving in started to settle into something more grounded. I realized if we were going to make this place feel like home, I needed to reach out, to build connections beyond these 4 walls. I wanted to meet the neighbors, to swap stories over coffee, or just wave across the street with a friendly nod. I brought it up to Mark one evening, picturing us strolling down the sidewalk together, introducing ourselves as the new couple on the block. But he just shrugged, sinking deeper into the couch with a beer in hand, his eyes barely lifting from the flickering screen of the TV. I knew then that if I wanted to make those connections, I'd be doing it on my own. So, the next morning, I decided to take the first step. I slipped into a casual sundress, the kind that's breezy and light, perfect for a warm day like this, and slid on a pair of simple sandals. In my hands, I carried a small plate of homemade cookies, nothing fancy, just a batch I whipped up with what we had in the pantry, a little gesture to break the ice. My heart was doing this funny little dance in my chest, a mix of nerves and excitement, as I stepped out the front door and started down our driveway. Willow Grove unfolded before me like a picture from a magazine. The streets were lined with towering old trees, their branches arching overhead to create a canopy of dappled sunlight. Kids zoomed by on bikes, their laughter echoing through the air, while neatly trimmed lawns stretched out in front of homes that looked like they'd been plucked from a dream. Bright flower gardens bloomed with bursts of color, roses, tulips, and marigolds swaying gently in the breeze. It was the kind of place that made you feel like you'd stumbled into a postcard, where every detail was just right. I couldn't help but smile as I walked, taking it all in, though a tiny part of me wondered if we'd ever fit into a neighborhood this polished. My gaze drifted to the house on our right, and I swear, my breath caught for a second. It wasn't just a house, it was a mansion, all sleek lines and modern elegance. Towering 2 stories high, it had these massive glass windows that glinted in the sunlight, reflecting the world like a mirror. Out front, 6 cars were parked in a perfect row, each one more impressive than the last. There was a glossy black sports car that looked like it could outrun the wind, a rugged SUV built for adventure, and a few others that screamed money and status in a way I'd never seen up close. I glanced back at our humble sedan parked in our driveway, next to our fixer-upper home with its peeling paint and uneven shutters, and a pang of inadequacy hit me hard. What was I even doing? Walking up to a place like this with a plate of cookies that probably looked like a kid's bake sale reject. I hesitated at the edge of their driveway, my sandals scuffing against the pavement. My fingers tightened around the plate, and I debated turning back. Who was I to knock on a door that probably cost more than our entire house? But then I took a deep breath, squared my shoulders, and told myself I wasn't going to let a little intimidation stop me. I marched up to the front door, a slab of dark wood that looked more like a work of art than an entrance, and pressed the doorbell with a trembling finger. The chime echoed inside, and I heard heavy footsteps approaching, each one making my pulse tick faster with every step. The door swung open, and there stood Adam, all sharp features and effortless charm, with a smile that could disarm anyone. Beside him was Tyler, equally striking, his gaze warm but piercing in a way that made my cheeks flush. They welcomed me in with a kind of ease I hadn't expected, thanking me for the cookies as if they were some gourmet treat. I mumbled something about just wanting to say hi. And before I knew it, I was stepping into their world, a space that felt like it belonged in a design magazine, all clean lines, polished surfaces, and a vibe that screamed success. Now, here I am, sinking into the plush leather couch in their living room, the kind of furniture that feels like a luxury I don't deserve. I'm holding a glass of chilled white wine they insisted I try, the cool liquid sliding down my throat with a crisp bite that steadies my nerves. The room smells faintly of cedar and something expensive I can't place, and the sunlight streaming through those massive windows casts golden streaks across the hardwood floor. Adam sits across from me in a sleek armchair, one leg crossed over the other, while Tyler lounges beside me on the couch, close enough that I can feel the warmth radiating from him. We're chatting like old friends, the conversation flowing as easily as the wine. They ask about the neighborhood, how I'm settling in, and I tell them about the thrill of owning our first home, even if it's a work in progress. They nod, genuinely interested, and share a bit about themselves. Adam runs a tech startup that's apparently doing incredibly well, and Tyler's a real estate investor, with a knack for turning properties into gold. I'm in awe, honestly, listening to them talk about deals and innovations with a passion I haven't seen in ages. It makes me think of Mark, how he's content just getting through the day, no big dreams or fire in his belly. I don't say that out loud, of course, but the contrast stings, and a quiet envy creeps into my chest, making me fidget with the stem of my glass. They turn the focus to me, asking about my life, my work, and I laugh, a little too nervously, admitting I'm just plugging away at a part-time retail job. I joke about how it barely keeps the lights on, but there's a bitter edge to my words I can't quite hide. I'm folding shirts for minimum wage while they're out here building empires, and the gap between us feels like a canyon. That's when Adam leans forward, his eyes catching mine with an intensity that makes my breath hitch. He mentions, almost offhand, that he's been looking for someone to clean his office downtown. It's a simple gig, he says. Just a few hours a week, nothing taxing. Then he drops the number, $6,000 a month. My jaw practically hits the floor. $6,000? For cleaning? I can't even process it at first, my mind spinning with what that kind of money could mean for me and Mark. Paying off debts, fixing up the house, maybe even breathing a little easier for once. I blurt out that I'd love the job, the words tumbling out before I can stop them, and I'm half laughing, half stunned, barely believing this is real. Adam just grins, a slow, confident curve of his lips, and says, "It's mine if I want it. No interview, no hassle." Just like that, I'm overwhelmed, a rush of gratitude flooding through me, and I stand up without thinking, needing to express how much this means. I step toward Adam, intending a quick, polite thank you hug, nothing more. He doesn't pull back, though. Instead, as my arms go around him, his hand settles on my waist, firm and deliberate, lingering just a heartbeat longer than it should. My pulse spikes, a jolt of electricity shooting through me at the warmth of his touch, through the thin fabric of my sundress. I'm frozen for a split second, unsure, when I feel Tyler move closer behind me. His presence is a heat I can't ignore, and then his breath brushes against my neck, hot and intimate, as he whispers something low and suggestive, his voice a velvet caress that sends a shiver racing down my spine. I'm caught between them, my heart pounding so loud I'm sure they can hear it, and for a moment, time seems to stretch into something endless. My mind screams at me to step back, to remember where I am, who I am, but my body betrays me, lingering in the heat of their nearness. It's like standing on the edge of a cliff, knowing one wrong move could send me tumbling into a place I can't come back from. And yet, there's a part of me, a reckless, hidden part, that doesn't want to pull away, that craves the rush of this forbidden moment. I finally manage to untangle myself, my face burning as I stammer out an awkward excuse about needing to get home. My voice sounds foreign to my own ears, shaky and thin, like I'm trying to convince myself more than them. Adam just smirks, his eyes glinting with something unreadable, while Tyler steps back with a casual nod, as if nothing out of the ordinary just happened. My hands are trembling as I smooth out the wrinkles in my sundress, the fabric feeling suddenly too thin, too revealing. I catch my reflection in a mirror near their front door, and I barely recognize the woman staring back at me. Flushed cheeks, wide eyes, hair slightly mussed. I run my fingers through it, trying to tame the strands, but it's more about buying time, about pulling myself together before I shatter completely. My mind is a storm, guilt and confusion swirling together in a chaotic mess. How did I let things slip so far? How did I let myself feel? Whatever this is, Adam and Tyler are already back to their effortless composure, thanking me for stopping by with the kind of polite ease that makes me question if I imagined the intensity of those last few minutes. Adam reaches into his pocket and pulls out a sleek business card, the edges crisp and professional, with his office address printed in sharp black ink. He hands it to me, confirming the job is mine, his tone all business now, as if we're sealing a deal and nothing more. I take the card with numb fingers, nodding like I'm on autopilot, barely registering the weight of it in my hand. $6,000 a month, a lifeline, a chance to change everything for me and Mark. But at what cost? I mutter a quiet thanks, my voice barely above a whisper, and turn toward the door, desperate for the safety of fresh air, for distance from the lingering heat of their gazes. Stepping outside, the late afternoon light hits me like a slap, the golden glow too bright after the dim, intimate atmosphere of their home. The air feels heavier now, thick with the weight of what I've just walked away from. I glance across the lawn toward my own house, our modest little sanctuary that suddenly looks so small, so innocent compared to the sleek mansion behind me. My stomach churns, a sickening twist of dread as I picture Mark inside, probably sprawled on the couch with a soda in hand, completely oblivious to the storm brewing in my chest. He trusts me. He's always trusted me. And here I am, carrying something I can't even name, something that clings to my skin like a shadow I can't shake. I can still feel the ghost of their touches, the warmth of Adam's hand on my waist, the brush of Tyler's breath against my neck, and I'm horrified by the part of me that doesn't want to forget it, that keeps replaying those fleeting seconds like a forbidden melody. I start walking back across the lawn, each step slow and deliberate, like I'm dragging an invisible weight behind me. My sandals scuff against the grass, the sound too loud in the quiet of the neighborhood, and I clutch Adam's business card so tightly the edges dig into my palm. I try to focus on the job, on the money, on what this could mean for us. That's what I'll tell Mark. Just the job. Nothing else. I rehearse the words in my head over and over, like a script I have to get right. Hey, honey, you won't believe what happened today. I keep repeating that line in my head as I push open the front door to our house, the familiar creak of the hinges grounding me for just a second. The smell of takeout pizza hits me immediately, a comforting mix of grease and cheese that's become our go-to on busy nights. From the living room, the muffled roar of a sports game spills out, the announcer's voice rising and falling with the crowd's cheers. It's all so normal, so painfully ordinary, that it feels like I've stepped into someone else's life. My chest tightens as I kick off my sandals by the door, the cool tile under my feet doing little to steady the storm inside me. I'm still clutching that business card, the sharp edges a constant reminder of the line I nearly crossed just minutes ago. I shove it into my pocket, as if hiding it can erase the memory of Adam's hand on my waist, or the way Tyler's whispered words sent heat racing through me. But it doesn't. Nothing can. I take a shaky breath and force myself to walk into the living room, each step heavier than the last. Mark's there, sprawled on the couch just like I pictured, a half-empty soda can on the coffee table and a few pizza crusts on a paper plate beside him. He looks up as I enter, his face breaking into a tired but genuine smile, the kind that used to make my heart flutter without effort. Now, it just twists the knife deeper. "Hey, Danny," he says, his voice warm, oblivious. "How'd it go with the neighbors? Make any new friends?" There's a playful lilt to his tone, like he's picturing me swapping recipes or gossip over coffee. Not whatever it was I just walked away from. My throat feels like it's closing up, but I force the words out, plastering on a smile that feels more like a grimace. "Yeah, I met some nice people. And, even better. I landed a job. Cleaning an office downtown. $6,000 a month. Can you believe it?" My voice cracks a little on the last part, but I push through, hoping he doesn't notice. I can't meet his eyes, so I focus on a spot just over his shoulder, where a stack of unpacked boxes still leans against the wall, waiting for us to figure out this new life together. Mark sits up straight, his eyes widening with a mix of shock and excitement. 6,000? A month? Danny, that's incredible. He's grinning now, a full, unrestrained smile that lights up his whole face, and I feel like the worst person alive. "I'm so proud of you. That kind of money. It's gonna help us out so much. We can finally get ahead, you know. Fix up the house, maybe even take a little trip somewhere." He's already dreaming, planning, his voice bubbling with a hope I haven't heard in ages. Every word is a punch to my gut because he has no idea what I've done to get this opportunity, no clue about the shadow hanging over it. I nod along, my smile so brittle I'm sure it'll shatter if I hold it too long. "Yeah, it's a game changer," I manage, my voice barely above a whisper. I move to sit beside him on the couch, the worn cushions sinking under me, familiar in a way that should feel like home but doesn't. Not anymore. I feel like a stranger in my own skin, like I've brought something tainted back with me from that mansion across the lawn. Mark shifts closer, slinging an arm around my shoulders with an easy affection that used to be my safe place. Now it's a weight I don't deserve. "We should celebrate," he says, squeezing my arm gently. "Maybe order something fancy tomorrow night, or crack open that bottle of wine we've been saving. What do you think?" I can't answer right away. My mind is a mess, replaying those charged moments with Adam and Tyler, the way I let myself get pulled into something I knew was wrong. I can still feel the ghost of a touch, the heat of a breath. It's been a few hours since I stumbled back into the safety of our home, and now I'm lying in bed next to Mark, the familiar rhythm of his soft snoring filling the quiet room. The darkness wraps around us like a heavy blanket, but sleep is nowhere near me. I'm staring at the ceiling, my eyes tracing invisible patterns in the shadows, unable to shut off the relentless replay of today's events in my mind. Every moment, every word, every fleeting touch. It's all looping on repeat, a haunting reel I can't escape. I think about Adam and Tyler, their magnetic presence, the way they pulled me into a world I didn't belong in. I think about that job offer, the staggering $6,000 a month that could change everything for us, and how it came with strings I never anticipated. And I think about that forbidden line I brushed up against, the one I nearly crossed in a haze of temptation. Was it just a fleeting lapse? A one-time slip I can bury and forget? Or have I cracked open a door I can't close? A Pandora's box of desires I didn't even know I had? I turn my head slightly, the pillow cool against my cheek, and glance at Mark. His face is peaceful in the dim light filtering through the curtains, his features softened by sleep, completely unaware of the storm raging inside me. He trusts me, always has, with a kind of unwavering faith that used to feel like a gift. Now, it's a weight pressing down on my chest, heavier with every breath I take. I've deceived him, even if it's just in thought, in those stolen seconds where I let myself linger in a moment I should have fled from. The guilt is a bitter taste in my mouth, a constant reminder of how close I came to betraying everything we've built. But what scares me even more than the guilt is the other feeling, the one I'm ashamed to admit even to myself. Part of me felt alive today, in a way I haven't in years. Electric, awake, like I'd been sleepwalking through my life until that spark jolted me back to reality. That thrill, that rush of something dangerous and new. It's terrifying because I don't know if I can ignore it, or if I even want to. My fingers twist in the sheets, restless, as my mind keeps circling back to those charged minutes in that sleek mansion across the lawn. I can still feel the warmth of a hand on my waist, the whisper of breath against my skin, stirring something deep and reckless inside me. It wasn't just a moment. It was a pull, a current I almost let myself drown in. I stopped it, pulled away, but the memory clings to me like a second shadow, one I can't shake off no matter how hard I try. I keep asking myself how I let it happen, how I let my guard slip so easily. Was it the allure of their world, so different from mine, so full of power and possibility? Or was it something in me, something I've buried for too long, clawing its way to the surface? I don't have answers, and that uncertainty gnaws at me. A quiet dread that keeps my heart racing even now, hours later, in the stillness of our bedroom. I shift onto my side, facing away from Mark, as if turning my back can shield him from the truth I'm carrying. But it doesn't work. I can still sense his presence behind me, steady and unsuspecting, a stark contrast to the chaos in my head. I start the job next week, and that thought alone sends a fresh wave of anxiety crashing over me. I'll see Adam again, step into his world once more, and I'm not sure how I'll handle it. Will I be able to keep things professional, to focus on the work and nothing else? Or will that undercurrent of tension still be there, simmering beneath the surface, waiting for a single misstep to pull me under? I don't trust myself right now, not after today, and that lack of trust is a jagged edge cutting deeper with every passing minute. I've always thought of myself as someone who knows right from wrong, someone who'd never jeopardize what matters most. But now, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.